Welcome everyone, I hope you're having a very wonderful day, and welcome to my guide for fallow deer for Awaroa. Before we begin, I want to quickly break down how today's guide is going to work, but first I want to quickly say I do apologize if I am congested. I am just getting over a sickness, but anyways, let's get right into it. So, how we're going to be doing today's guide is we're going to be first starting off with their hotspots and locations, and then we're going to move on to weapon recommendations, and then end today's video with the animal profile, which will be custom map, time zones, ammo chart, and more. Everything you need to make your hunting life 10 times easier. So, we're going to first go over our map really quick by opening it up, and I'm just going to explain to you guys where these guys like to reside. But first, I'm getting ahead of myself. I forgot to say what time these guys like to drink. Fallow deer drinking time for this map is 10 to 13, as every other map that has fallow deer. So, with that out of the way, let's zoom in here on our first hotspot of the day that we're going to be talking about. I'm going to go over the hotspots first, and then I'm going to be covering all their general locations. So this is the first and best hotspot when it comes to hunting fallow deer on Awaroa. I have quite a few zones here. We have 1, we have 2, we have 3, we have 4, we have 5, and then obviously there was more singles here, but I wiped them out. And then we're going to go to our second hotspot, which is this lake right here. We have about 2, but we had a bunch of singles there as well, which I still have some hunting pressure from dealing with them. And then off over on the left-hand side, we have this big old lake here, which I don't have all my fallow deer zones, to be quite honest, so we should probably maybe have, hopefully, 2 more zones here, but we have 3 here on the right side. They do not reside on the left whatsoever. That side is for the red deer. So just keep that in mind when you're out there hunting at that lake. Now over here is we're gonna be covering the general areas where they like to reside. Is all this coastline here where my mouse is hovering over. This is where they like to reside as well. And then over here where we have our outpost at this little beachhead, and all the way up into this inlet right here is where they also like to reside. Now their zones stop right here at this elbow, and that's pretty much all the fallow deer territory. So as I said, it's a very small condensed location for these guys. I think they have the smallest grouping of all the animals on this map, other than probably the Comois, which honestly, they do have a very large range. The Comois have a huge mountain range to cover, but I do think the fallow deer have the smallest zones of this map, which makes them really great to hunt. I think this is also the best map when it comes to grinding for a great one for fallow deer, so I just want to point that out. So let's quickly get out of our map so we can actually see some fallow deer. We're going to walk down here to our lake and see if we can get any new singles. There we go. We got a new single there. Got some ducks. Cool. But we're not here for the ducks. We're here for the fallow deer. So we should have those 2 groups here right in front of me. I don't see any level 4 replacements other than that guy, which honestly, I kind of want to take him out, but should I? I don't really do a lot of hunting in my videos when it comes to these, so maybe we're just going to do this. I think that's what we're going to do. And we just smoked ourselves a very beautiful level 4 fallow deer. And we're going to go check him out. And hopefully while we're walking up there, the rest of the fallow deer will load in from the other side of the lake. Oh, we got another one there. Got more ducks. More ducks. But I don't see the other ones loading in. I guess we're just so far away. What's our distance? About 580. So I doubt we're going to see him. But you guys have seen all the zones when I opened up my map, so let's check this guy out. He is a gold with a trophy score of 200. Gold threshold is 187.81. Very good looking boy. And we double lunged him with the 7mm. But that's going to do it for the locations and hotspots. We're going to head over back to the outpost where I'm going to do a quick weapon recommendation. Alrighty folks, so we're back at the outpost. Now before we begin, I want to mention quickly 3 things. First things first is, I'm only going to be covering rifles, handguns, and shotguns. I'll not be covering bows because I'm not a bow expert, so I'll leave that to professionals. Secondly, these are just my personal recommendations and favorites. I always say go out there and explore and see what suits you and what you enjoy playing with. And then finally, I'll be mentioning all the DLC these weapons come from in case you want to pick them up for yourself. So, let's get right into it with my favorite rifle in the game. One of my favorite rifles. Top 5 at least. Very solid top 5. The Malamur Semi-Magnum is a very solid choice. It covers classes 4 through 9. It'll instantly drop those fallow deer if you already watched the first section. You see me drop that one fallow deer with this thing. It's very solid. Now, we do have the base game version that requires no other money other than buying the game. and the in-game currency, but you got 3 rounds in this thing compared to the single shot base game model. I like this thing a lot more, and it's just very solid to use, and it's in the Hunter Power Pack DLC. Moving on to our second rifle here, the Model 1894. Now, I typically have not been showcasing this because it's going to be in probably every video that this thing could be in, just because of how absurd the penetration is for one of the rounds for the 44. You could probably shoot one of these fallow deer in the butthole and it will pop into their lungs. It has absurd penetration. I mean, that was pretty graphic, but let's just go over the handgun ammo just so I can show you guys. The penetration is 70. You could probably hit this fallow deer at any angle and hit the lungs, realistically, with this caliber and this penetration. So I recommend picking this rifle up because it's just very fun to use, and it's going to basically save you a ton of money. I mean, look at the price of this round, $530. Right? For a lever action with 6 rounds, you're going to be popping these fallow deer all day or whatever you're hunting. It's a very solid choice, and you can find it in the Ambusher Pack DLC. Moving on to our final rifle here. Now, I want to give a semi-auto option for those who do enjoy it. The Zarza 10 308. Now, the 308 is a very solid choice when it comes to hunting these fallow deer, or the 30-06 even, or the 303. I could have recommended those as well, but for this video, we're doing the 303. The 308. But yeah, this is a very fun rifle. You have 5 rounds in there, semi-automatic, and you can place a ton of follow-up shots with it, and you can find it in the Modern Rifle Pack DLC. Moving on to handguns, we're going to be covering my favorite handgun in the entirety of Call of the Wild, and it's probably the best pistol in Call of the Wild. The 4570 Jernberg Superior is just a phenomenal little hand cannon. Yes, it's a single shot, which I don't typically like, but you can put a rifle scope on this handgun, which makes it, in my view, just far superior compared to all the other pistols, even the 10 mil, the 45, the 357, the 45 Colt that you could put actually a better scope on. And honestly, I prefer it even more than the 454. I just don't know. I just really like it. I think it's very nifty. I enjoy it a lot. So I highly recommend it, even if you aren't into single shots. I just recommend trying to pick it up, try it out if the pack goes on sale. And you can find it in the, gosh, what is the name of it? The high caliber weapon pack. Can't believe I almost forgot the weapon pack this thing comes from, and I say it's my favorite. That's crazy. Moving on to shotguns here, we're going to scroll down here to the Norden 20 gauge, as I always recommend. This thing's just very solid. You have 3 rounds in there. You could either use the buck or slug on this thing when it comes to hunting fallow deer. For this map, you're going to be dealing with a lot of open terrain, a lot of open space, so I don't recommend really using it unless you're planning to stalk them in the woods. But it is a very solid shotgun. It does the job when it comes to hunting these guys. The 20 gauge works pretty perfectly because I have a clip out there of me using the double barrel, shooting both slugs into a diamond fallow deer, which was my first ever diamond fallow deer, which was very fun. So I do recommend picking this bad boy up, and you can find it in the Duck and Cover Pack DLC. So with that out of the way, I'm going to head over to the animal profile, and I'll see you guys in just a moment. And here we are, folks, at the end of today's video. Before I let you guys go, I'm going to do a quick animal profile breakdown. Starting on the left-hand side, we have all of our basic fallow deer information. We have our class difficulty, silver, gold, and diamond threshold. We have our weight from least to greatest in kilograms and pounds. We have our fur types covering common, rare, very rare, and fabled. Moving on to the center map, we pretty much covered all that information at the very start of today's video. Moving on to the top right hand corner, we have all of our time zones nice and organized for you here. Now I do want to point out these are the correct time zones because I have already done a fallow deer guide video for Emerald Coast. However, due to some human error on my part and some not paying attention, I kind of just messed up the time zones on there. So I did comment that down in the comments for that video. However, I'll eventually go back and redo it at some point. But just keep that in mind if you guys go watch that. Moving on. Down below, we have our ammo chart, nice and organized for those full integrity kills. So that pretty much does it for today's video, folks. If you guys enjoyed, please drop a like. It really helps out the channel. And with that out of the way, I hope you guys have a very wonderful day. Happy hunting, good luck, and I will see you guys in the next one.